geeks? Welcome to episode 515 of Geeks in Space. I am Rob Commander Taco Malda, and I am joined today by two of the finest geeks that you're ever going to meet who are willing to pretend that they are in low Earth orbit for the better part of a half hour and talk about crap. I got Chris DeBona.
Hello, everybody. I'm here to talk about crap.
Rob Roseboom.
Hi.
Ready to talk about some crap.
You got some crap. I got some crap to talk about.
I just said this right before we started, but the water reflection in your background looks real nice, Chris.
Yeah, that's so I should point out that's from the game. That's from Fractured Veil. And we finally gave up and stopped using this third-party tool, and we decided to adopt the standard Unreal 4 water model and weather model, and we're so much happier for it. I have to tell you. Yeah, so we've been spending the last couple of weeks making sure the water sand interface is going really, really nicely, and the reflections of the clouds are pretty, and it's performant. You know, how many frames are we getting on this, Rob? On the normal machine?
On average, we gained 20 frames a second. Ooh. That's how much the weather was sucking.
Is this on your 2070, Rob?
I'm not sure exactly what Grant benchmarked it on.
Yeah.
I imagine he has a good rig as well, but
I guess that leads me into what is perhaps the only story that's happening in
the
tech
only
news,
story,
because Apple did a whole bunch of crap that nobody cared about yesterday.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about. Are we going to talk? Is that?
I didn't put it on the list, but I'm happy to talk about it.
Wow, is that uninteresting?
Well, okay, all right. Well, let's just start with Apple. A faster iPad, cool, no objections. Sure. My household, I have 5 people that I deal with that need technology, and a lot of them, iPad is the preferred tool. There's nothing in this that makes me need to buy it for any of the 5 of them. The watches are fine. I have a couple of family members who care about the oxygen measuring component.
Sure.
In fact, amongst the various households that I maintain some level of responsibility for, there are at least, I think, 2, maybe 3 oxygen measuring devices in these rooms.
But they're like $20.
They are not a big deal.
They're cheap.
But the point is not that they're cheap. The point is that it's on your wrist all the time, and so you know it happens before it's too late.
Dude, I'm getting so bored. I'm halfway through this article, and they've been talking about like watch straps and family monitoring and a pulse ox feature that they could have done years ago with that sensor.
They have a feature in there which is you can pair a watch to like your family plan and not specifically to a person. And for anybody who has small children, or let's say elders that might not be the best with iPads.
Elders?
Yeah. That might be actually that might actually be useful, because those things have like fall detection, and you can talk to wiretap from it, and like I don't know, there's stuff there that's worth it, but without having the phone on the announcement, nobody's gonna care. All the software stuff they announced at WWDC, so nobody's gonna care. This is a whole bunch of nothing burger. Whatever, they didn't show anything I care about. I mean, yeah, there's a subscription service.
For fitness?
Yeah, they got a fitness subscription service and then a bundle that bundles like all of their services together. But Google and Amazon have been doing that forever. So whatever. I don't know.
They called it Apple One as opposed to Apple Nexus or Apple Prime or
That's their version.
Apple Rug Edition,
And I think
bring the room together.
I think I have a couple of the things on that list that I actively subscribe to because I need the storage. Because if you have Macs that you want to back up, you need the storage. And then if you have...
That's it?
It was a really... The WWDC presentation was way more interesting. That actually had content in it that I cared about. They're going to have another event in October to announce the phones, which everybody will care about. But this actually may have been wise for them to defer, because I think for the first time in like maybe a decade of Apple history, somebody else has an announcement the same week that people care about more. and this was the end of the embargo on the 3080s, the NVIDIA series. So Tech Jesus Steve.
Yeah, he looks frowny faced in this video. I haven't watched this video yet. Is he frowny faced on the 3080?
So okay, I watched him and Linus both their videos, and I've read the metrics on it. Linus's complaint was that the hype train that AMD or that NVIDIA put out was proclaiming 2x performance, and that's not really true except in specific cases. But I think everybody knew that. It is,
but I mean, is it 1.5x at $500? I mean,
well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's the fastest video card ever made. It just is, and it is. The thing is that in most cases, the actual real world speed gain is somewhere between 30% and 70%, which is still
that's amazing,
huge. But when
at like less than half the price,
yeah.
I mean, let's holy crow, dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. So I mean, that Linus was mad because of that, and I think Steve did a good job. Although you can
Steve gets his fire up on stuff like this.
He does. Well, okay, so he's not angry in this video, and I like angry Steve. I like Soapbox Steve. Soapbox Steve is my Jesus. That's the T-shirt. Soapbox Tech Jesus is my Jesus. But no, the numbers are all good. The thermals are interesting. In a closed case, it's raising the temperature of your case by like 10 degrees because it's blowing it's blowing heat straight into your CPU cooler. I mean, I don't know. It's the metrics are not what they hyped. They're still the best ever. We haven't seen the 3090 numbers yet either, but I can't imagine they sell that many 3090s.
Yeah.
But I mean, at that price point, I mean, for the 3080 and the 3070, nobody's going to be building anything. I mean, nobody's ever buying a 2060 again.
That's really true. I mean, yeah, what's funny about all this is it sort of mutes the whole 20 series was kind of a waste.
It's true.
It was overpriced, under-delivered on performance. No one gave two figs about RTX, and yeah, I mean, there were a couple games that used it, but it wasn't great. Like I played the Minecraft RTX, and it was
unstable for me. I couldn't play it for a long time.
It was super unstable. And then during the demo with the kitchen and then the jacket, Jen Sun's like, oh yeah, now we can do 1440 with RTX on, and I'm like, you were doing 720.
Yeah.
With RTX on before. It's like the 20 series in retrospect looks like a huge waste of time.
It was. I mean, that's why.
And kind of a just keep buying the 1080 until we get our stuff together.
That's why people still were holding on to them 1080 Ti's. Uriah on the boat would tell us every time, you guys are suckers. I've got my 3-year-old
Uriah has
TI.
a great rant about this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, he's right. But this
ain't wrong.
I mean, I'm gonna get a 3080 of some sort. I can't imagine that the numbers on the 3090 would be enough for me to justify spending as much on that as I would my whole computer. But I'll get a 3080, and when they're reasonably available. But the other half, I guess, to this story now.
Saga.
Well, okay. So tomorrow, all of the other vendors, the embargo on their cards ends. So you'll get to see, I don't know, like EVGA and those guys, what their cards look like. And they'll be basically the same, but a couple of them will be like 2% faster because they'll be clocked, 50 megahertz faster. And some of them will have 3 fans, so they'll be a little quieter. So that'll be interesting. But the real interesting thing for me then is in the next 4 weeks, you have AMD, and they've got Zen 3, and they've got their video card response to this, and they have to just be.
Big Navi is not gonna. I mean, here's the thing. I say Big Navi is not gonna be a big deal, but then if you think about it, how big of a deal do you need to be? I mean, these cards are so overpowered for HD gaming.
Yeah.
I mean, so I've got a VR rig, and I got to tell you, it's pretty good, right? And I've got a 2080 Super, and it looks fantastic, in VR. what do I get out of being 1.5 times faster? I've got a 4K monitor. I can do like 60 frames in Flight Simulator already. I mean, yeah, it's weird. It's like, I don't want to like sound negative, but like
No, it's
the 3070 giving you 2080 Ti performance at $400 or $499.
yeah.
That's an incredible deal. I
Yeah.
really wonder like why bother with the 3090? So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, for research stuff, for rendering stuff, for professional tasks, maybe the numbers will work out. But
sure. Well, I mean, this is their whole pitter patter about AI processing and why they bought ARM for AI, which doesn't make any sense at all. That they're like, hey, listen, people ain't buying us for crypto mining anymore. Let's go for the AI dollars, right? And then my question is, are crypto miners crazy about the 3080s and the 3090s? Is there something about them that puts their amp miners to shame? I don't know. Right?
yeah, I have not yet. I mean, obviously these things aren't in the wild yet, so we don't really know how it's going to affect crypto coin. But I mean, that stuff, all that crashed kind of anyway.
Yeah, it did.
People aren't really doing that anymore.
That's why all the AMDs were so cheap, because they were actually seen as better for crypto miners
Right.
and more flexible. And then suddenly you get, what was it, the 570s, Rob, that we were giving away from a certain crypto miner operation? It's like, yeah. But yes, but Tech Jesus Steve here, he looks pretty frowny faced.
He's pretty realistic about it. The RTX performance is really cool, but nobody cares. And Steve did a good story like a week ago where they broke down how many people are actually using RTX, and it's nobody. You turn it on to flex, and then you turn it back off if you're legit, if you're really playing.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the idea of a 4K display for my games, but the screen that I'm staring at right now is only a 2K, and weirdly enough, my 4K screen is now on the side for my second head, and I don't game on that.
You put your 4K in the corner?
Baby put his 4K in the corner, and not only that, but I rotated it to portrait, which is because just the way my desk is laid out, it works better.
Yeah, I thought of actually doing the same thing and like moving my 4K to the left here, and then taking my 2550.
Yeah, I mean, he did. They both Linus and Steve did some stuff with Flight Simulator, and it can actually get Flight Simulator with like all the graphics options at 4K, and it can get it up like well over 30 frames per second, which that wasn't really possible before. So you'll have to let us know how that works.
Yeah.
Okay, so the second story that I had on the list is funny. And you guys,
oh yeah,
yeah,
I like funny things.
Do
you like funny things, Rob?
They're okay.
Yeah.
It's the when you browse Instagram and find a prime minister's passport, and so as you guys both know, but I imagine Rob knows, or Chris knows way more than Rob. They put that little 6-digit code on your on your boarding pass, and the reality is that code is essentially a password. If you have very minimal amounts of information and that code, you can log into services and start monkeying about. Also, people like to do things like post on Instagram, "Hey, I'm going to New Jersey," and they'll be like, "Here's my boarding pass." That's weird that shows up green. So they do that, and then they are inadvertently putting their passcode, their password up on Instagram. And this guy then does the logical thing, which is takes the Prime Minister of Australia's passport, or his 6-digit airline code, and then tries to log in and works backwards through it. But the story is very humorously written. The guy, he's got a charming delivery. It's all about, well, did I commit crimes? Did I crime here? And he goes through this whole thing, and then he tries to get a hold of the government and get a hold of them and tell them like, hey, so what he figures out is he can log in using the code, and then he discovers that hidden in plain text, not visible on screen, but in the embedded HTML, is like a record of various fields, including some comments made by employees of the airline and the passport code of the Prime Minister. And you wouldn't see it if you just loaded the page. It's hidden. It's not displayed text.
Yeah, you have to hit Control U, and that takes forever. Then you have to hit Control F,
and he
for
makes
the dude's name.
And that's actually a lot of what this is. He says, "Did I
Secret
commit a crime?"
passport, do not expose on the website.
He has a little thing where he's like, "I want to show you the trick. Back up to the." He says, "Here's the criminal tool I did. It's called inspect."
Right.
And then he explains what he found in this page using inspect, and he also has a rant about how that might actually technically be a crime because of the way some of these laws are written. Anyway, the story is charmingly written, and without being spoilery or anything, he eventually does actually get to talk to the prime minister, and he does not go to jail. And it's an interesting and charming story, and definitely worth your time.
Wow.
Okay, so yeah.
This is fantastic.
His writing style is very charming too. It's very just like lighthearted, casual, and really fun and weird. Is it possible that I've done a crime? The do not get arrested challenge. Yeah.
2020.
It's really worth your time. I actually read this last night after we recorded the Dead Zone episode and just was grinning ear to ear the whole time because it's just so charming. It is the.
I like the idea of legal aid answering this question though. That's terrific.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a meanderingly weird story, and at the end he actually has like a timeline with the real dates and everything because this started like in March, and like for him to get because he gave them 90 days. To fix the security hole and everything. Like he's very ethical. He's very much doing, the kind of white
1-300 Cyber 1.
Yeah, that's the number you call.
They have to say yes if you ask that. They're legally obligated.
Yep. It's great. So speaking of like really like high end, high skill hacking. It's the 25th anniversary of the theatrical release of Hackers, apparently.
Yeah, I saw that. I can't believe I'm that old.
What a great movie, huh?
It was great, actually. I got nothing but good things to say about that movie.
Really? When was the last time you watched it?
Oh, God, years. But I really liked it. I liked Johnny Lee Miller in it, and it's all good, man.
I watched it about a year ago. It's rough.
Is it? How come?
I mean, the performances are all fine, and maybe rough is like it's dumb. Like everything related to the technology is super dumb, and it's all about the style. So I guess as a piece of, it's not even real 90s style. It's like this hyper stylized thing that they've got going on in this movie. It's everybody's like dressed like you saw a catalog.
They're super cool.
Yeah, you saw a catalog photo of the person and how you think that might dress. Like, isn't Angelina Jolie like wearing a wetsuit for like a huge part of that movie?
Well, back then that was kind of the goal of all hackers was to be around Angelina Jolie in a wetsuit.
Oh.
Yeah.
This probably has something to do with it. Who was it that I think it was Microsoft recently that sunk an entire shipping container to the bottom of the ocean filled with computers see. But they replaced the oxygen atmosphere with a nitrogen atmosphere, and they got like a slightly better failure rate by doing this. But maybe Angelina Jolie was wearing a wetsuit in preparation for her participation in this experiment.
Maybe. No.
Well, I don't think they sent her to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, they sent
problematic.
They sent
even in a wetsuit.
Yeah, so you remember the milk truck from the Dead Zone?
Mm-hmm.
So they basically took that, right, and they filled it with computers, and they sank it to the bottom of the ocean for 2 years and let it dump all of its heat into the ocean around it. Right, I was actually surprised at how little barnacle growth they had around it. I mean, because you'd think the barnacles would have loved the heat coming off that thing.
That's true.
But what do I know? I don't know anything.
Nothing about aquatic computing.
Yeah.
one of the weird things, I think when I was in college, the director of Hackers spoke to one of my classes.
Hi, I'm the director of Hackers. I know everything.
Yeah, and like in this class, like, I'm pretty sure it was the director of Hackers. He was kind of a weird guy, and he kind of was dismissive of the movie, and he kind of knew that it was kind of schlock. But like whatever, he was like, "I got the job done. I did the thing." He wasn't ashamed of it or anything, even though everybody in the room knew it was just kind of a cheesy, silly movie.
Well, so I'm looking at his oeuvre. He has, let's see now, um, Hackers, Inkheart, which I think is a movie, and K-Pax.
Oh God, is that the Kevin
Oh.
Spacey thing?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe this guy, maybe Hackers was his peak.
That could
That's
be.
all I'm gonna say.
He's zenithed, baby.
Yeah, man.
No, I guess my problem with that is that there's no, the grounding in reality is rough, and this must be how like if you're a biologist and you watch a movie, a pandemic kind of movie, you're a virologist and you know that this is just crap. Like I can never unsee it.
Yeah.
And that time, like with their modems and like the technology that they theoretically would have access to, that is like my peak for being interested in that stuff. Let's see. We've got. Do either of you guys have a need to have your own small nuclear reactor?
Well, yeah. I mean,
I wouldn't say I need it, but
well, it needs a
certainly
strong,
would be nice, right?
but like require is a word I would use.
Yeah.
I require my own nuclear reactor.
Absolutely.
It's not my first one.
I long for.
I pine for
Right.
it.
Right.
Is this because you don't want to have to buy a new UPS, or is this because you want to use it to intimidate your neighbors so that they mow their lawn more timely?
Actually, my neighbors, they do a really nice job. We all share the same gardener. We all pay the same dude, and he sends folks out on Wednesday, takes care of us and the guys behind us. So yeah, yard work's not a problem. We get on great with our neighbors. We love our neighbors. They're fantastic. Even though we're in California and we bought our house 15 years after they did, so they're paying literally a tenth of what we're paying for taxes.
Right.
But they're really good people. So.
I don't know if I had
out here it would be useful because I lose power probably once every couple months.
Right? Yeah. And I seem to remember these are the small ones. These are like the half a gigawatt ones or whatever. Or what's their capacity?
They were saying that you can daisy chain them. And like with a half dozen of them, you can power a small city. This isn't.
Oh, that's more than enough power for me then.
Yeah.
The end of the range would be 80 gigawatts of capacity. The high end. So
yeah, this is like powering a town. This isn't a UPS, but it should be. Anyway, I like the idea of this. And now that the Democrats.
Okay. So each little tube thing looks like it starts at 50 megawatts and goes to a gigawatt. Okay, that's cool. Nice.
Now that the Democrats officially have nuclear power on their platform again, maybe this will be a thing.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
We'll see. The debates are coming up.
That's right. I'm sure that they will be topical, concise.
I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure this will be a topic of discussion.
Hosted by
what's
Joe
funny
Rogan.
about it? Yeah, right. I saw that. What's really funny about it is, to a degree, they don't matter because Donald Trump, he's not even going to be responding to the questions. He's going to be talking directly to his wackadoos, right? And I don't know why they're bothering. I mean, Donald Trump doesn't care.
I've been saying this.
My
opinion on this is pretty straightforward. There doesn't need to be a dude asking questions. We should just lock them in a room together. They get a camera pointing at each of their faces. They get 60 seconds. And that's it. No interrupting. Your mic is cold when it's not your turn. You get your 60 seconds. We don't have to do the thing where, one guy says a thing that's dumb and the other guy goes, oh, makes their little fancy face. Like how stupid that guy. I hate that crap. Use your words. Speak to me. Tell me what you think. And then I want them to rattle each other. I want them to call each other out on their crap. That's all I want.
They're not.
I know they'll never do it.
It doesn't matter if they do. Nobody is paying attention.
Yeah, you're probably
You
right.
know, no. Who is the undecided voter? This didn't exist last election. It's not going to exist this election. Everyone who's comfortable. There's no news here. Oh, you know what I found out from the debate? Donald Trump might be a little bit racist. He might be a little bit corrupt. There's nobody like this. You know, it's like, oh, Joe Biden might be old. You know, it's like, oh, who knew? Oh my gosh, I thought he was a teenager. You know, it's like, what is the function of these people? Do they not have frankly, do they not have a brain?
I want them. No, I want them to give each
let
other.
Me, let me answer that for you. Yes. Yes, Chris. It is astounding how many people don't have a brain or haven't made up their mind supposedly yet. It is astounding.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is that this is a law of numbers kind of thing, right? There's 300 million people. 200 million of them maybe can vote. Maybe 150 million of them will.
It's actually going to be decided by one guy named Bob.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
But then you take of the eligible voting population, 2/3 of them, it literally doesn't matter who the candidate was. They're literally just going to press the button that their dad told them to press when they were 12. Yeah. And so all that matters is the other third. And yeah, I mean, does it come down to Bob in Ohio? I mean, not literally, but pretty damn close.
Yeah, it is literally comes down to the people who the warning labels not to stick a lighter in your eye are for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. That is who is going to decide things. And that's why you have to have these debates yet. And it is sad, isn't it?
Okay.
It's sad.
I want to take a moment to kick back to the earlier story that is actually interesting in the American election, frankly, isn't, you know, we all know who's going to vote for who and whatever. I hope there's a person I hope wins. That's all I'll say. So what is this that I'm showing on screen?
I got some bad news for you. The caption is visible.
Oh, okay. But still, what is it?
It is a Holocaust survivor displaying his arm tattoo more details.
Okay, and
according to the story I posted, 2/3 of young adults don't know what that is.
It wasn't 2/3, right? Isn't it more like a quarter? But it was a lot.
Yeah. Okay, and what is that?
It depends on what question.
Yeah.
What's that number?
Well, that's our booking number we just talked about.
That's right. And what do they have to do with each other?
They're both the sign of the devil.
Digits? No, why are they both 6 digits?
Because of the devil.
Nope, not because of the devil. Let me ask you a different question. Let me go back up.
Why phone numbers are 7 digits?
No. Let's see now. Why is that card shaped that way?
Is this because a horse's butt is 3.5 feet wide?
Nope. No, this doesn't go back to the Romans. Okay, so what is that?
Homework.
Okay, during the 40s, 50s, and 60s, how would you identify your punch cards? During the 30s and 40s, how would you identify your population of Jews if you were a German? So what I'm saying is, the history of the punch card is the history of the Holocaust. It's the history of boarding passes. And it's the history of how Tony Abbott's passport number got shared with the world.
It's all tied together? Oh, crap.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's like, I can't actually look at a punch card without thinking about the Holocaust. And I'm not Jewish. I'm not like a super woke guy or whatever. It sort of haunts you. You know, it's like when you think about the Hollerith machines and how they were licensed to Siemens by IBM and then used to track the Jews. You know, it's like, you know, yeah.
It's depressing that so often our uses for like the cutting edge of technology is shitty. Like,
well, I mean, the whole reason we came up with the punch cards was for the census, right?
Sure. And well, like, you know? I mean, we used the first computers to compute bomb trajectories. I mean, We
the good computers, yeah.
well, sure, because the good computers are the ones who are owned by your ancestors, and the bad computers are the ones who are owned by the loser of the war's ancestors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that story that that you guys are sharing. Like, I worry about that. Like, and like, I guess the American equivalent of that. I mean, I know that the Holocaust deniers are a big thing in America too, but the Civil War thing, you know, the Civil War. The Civil War was about like so many things. It was such a complicated thing. And it's like, well, yeah, it was about a lot of things, but pretty much all of those things just come back to one group of people thinks it's cool to own another group of people because it makes them rich. Like all of the others are pretty much as a dotted line back to that. You can argue, but it's.
I think you mean states' rights, right?
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah,
Mulder?
states' rights.
I mean, that's what it was about. States' rights.
Right. Yeah, or like industry, location of production, population density, religion. No, it's about you're bad. Like, you're doing a bad thing, and like, we can't say that. And I guess the Holocaust stuff is the same thing. Like, it's become this other thing. I don't know. I'm pissed now. The Holocaust was real. People were fucking killed.
Yeah, and so was the Civil War. That happened too.
Yeah, and I mean, before COVID, it was one
Wear
of the
a mask, you jerks.
It was one of the most deadly events in American history.
Yeah, allegedly. No, seriously. It's like
Show your shirt.
Oh yeah, I got the shirt.
I love that there's a green hole, so the Whopper is visible through.
Chroma key. Yeah.
We see your Whopper heart.
So the other thing I want to say is, so in actual exciting hardware news, because the Apple event didn't deliver, so the Hero 9 is out now.
I love the little front-facing camera, the front-facing screen.
Yeah, that's really neat, you know, and a lot of the other brands are doing this, and they really had to finally do it.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, this is exciting. So it's a 20 megapixel camera on it. It can shoot 5K video. Hyper stabilization mode looks absolutely insane. And is that your 8? Or is that the Osmo
it's an action, but it's got the front-facing camera, which, I mean, I was using it to try to videotape in my shop. I'm so old.
Nice.
I was trying to record at my shop, but then you can like see very, very easily where you're trying to get your shot.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just the software looks great. The thing looks great. If it's, you know, I haven't bought a GoPro since the 4 series, and they were good. And they still work. Frankly, they still work great. But yeah, this may be the next one I get. We have a corporate deal, you know, to get a discount. So I'm like.
The last thing on my list was the Baby Yoda season 2 trailer.
Ooh.
Have you guys watched it?
Yeah.
Have I?
Have.
Shit. What? Really?
The last shot with Yoda, like, clunk, in his little cage.
Yeah, I like that.
That was a little too jokey.
The weapons power up, presses the button.
Yeah.
Also, like, what's the line? We got to take him to see some space wizards. It's like awesome.
Yeah.
Space sorcerers.
Wherever I go, he goes. So I've heard.
Are you ready for it? Are you ready?
Here it comes.
Oh yeah,
Here it goes.
That shot right there was for every woman who is on the fence about Star Wars. Like, let's have him. It was let's.
This is the way.
This is the way. Yeah, that was like you remember in the first season the shot that became the meme where he's holding the little cup of bone broth and sipping and looking the most adorable. Like, they know they need to get half a dozen shots like that, because that is the thing that crosses this character over to the non-Star Wars fanboy.
Yeah, the scene where he's flipping switches inside the spaceship.
Jedi.
Well, I also think it's like, you know, that was more, in my mind, not a call out to women so much as not millennials, but the people who really like cute stuff on the internet.
Right. I mean, it's the cute piece Like the rest of the trailer is mostly like for Star Wars fanboys, referring to the wizards and referring to little bits of lore. Do you think that
I have to deliver him to a bunch of space sorcerers?
Yeah. Do you think that the only space sorcerers that are theoretically still around are Ahsoka? I think Kanan is still alive, right? I don't remember. There's not a lot of people to choose from that you can actually cast. You can't cast Luke Skywalker. Well, maybe you can.
No. But yeah, I think that this is Ahsoka, though, right?
No, I don't think that's Ahsoka in that shot.
Because it's supposed to be what's her name?
I can't tell. It's just a blurry blob.
You expect me to?
Is called Jedi.
Yeah, because they said a bunch of sorcerers called Jedi, and then they switch over to her. But honestly, I'm not great with faces.
I can't.
I don't know if that's the actress.
Rosario Dawson, but
Rosario Dawson.
I can't tell the hooded face. It does look a bit orange, but the color.
I think that's her.
Is it? That's cool.
I think that's her.
I haven't read anything on it yet, but I mean that's. I don't know that it's been officially confirmed that Rosario Dawson is playing Ahsoka Tano, but
yeah, I thought. Well, okay.
I mean, it's.
I don't know things.
It's a known. It's a known thing. I don't know that it's been announced.
People are saying.
A lot of people are saying. A lot of people are saying.
Allegedly.
It is known.
It is known. Yep. This is the way.
This is the way. I don't know. I know. I think I'm the only one here who's been all in on the Clone Wars and Rebels and all that. But Ahsoka Tano is a really cool character, and she starts off super annoying. I always say this. Ahsoka Tano is what Anakin should have been, which is a complicated character with a you didn't like him at first because they start off as a whiny kid, then they see some crap, and you respect their deal, and they achieved that with Ahsoka and not with Anakin.
And once he kills the younglings, then you're like, all right.
Yep.
Cool. I'm fully on board now. Yep. Those kids were whiny and a pain in the butt.
Yep. They just wanted their blue milk.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've crossed the 30-minute mark. We should say goodbye. Go do our important things. Let's see. Goodbye, Rob Roseboom.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, Chris DeBona.
Later.
This has been episode 515 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Malda. I hope you pre-ordered your video card and subscribed to Disney Plus and whatever other commercial requirements we put upon you today.